Welcome back to the streamline messages, people, and also the private messages as well. Let's kick this off with Ian. Great video, Marvin. I think it confirms a lot of stuff we already thought. I've always thought it looks like SW on the three monkeys pictures. Remember, he went to Dublin roughly the same time as RNA. I reckon they were explaining stuff to Irish bosses. Interesting stuff. Ian, I think there's a lot more to this case than what's going on, and I think this is why so many people, trolls, are trying to shut us down, and these are people involved in this case as well. Thank you for sharing, Marvin. I do reflect more about the very interesting video. Jay's case, I'm thinking of pictures showing a room in the basement of the Airbnb. I will never forget this. There were chains on the wall, a bed with a crucifix, but without a head, gave me shivers. Thank you. On point every time, Marvin. Thank you, Annette. I really appreciate your support. And thank you, Madeline Post. I agree about the crucifix. It seemed a very, very strange setup to me for someone who was sharing for the Airbnb. And I'm not sure that the Airbnb was a nice place you could actually stay out and rent out. I just don't think so. I don't think it was. Who's says, why did those involved keep attracting attention if they wanted none? Abe particularly made jokes and tried to cash in tactlessly and in bad taste. Others involved kept up with social media, and IMO used fake profiles to intimidate people or drop into people's DMs as well, people. All involved have never given a clear picture and wonder why we're still wanting answers, manipulating and bullying us into believing them and shut up. There were creators also manipulating viewers. Some announced being threatened and weren't covered the case anymore. It caused a lot of attention and public views increase in real criminal involvement. The next day they were posting as normal if it was for clicks. The creators have huge responsibilities re-influencing people which was abused. I unfollow them and stick to what I think is more genuine creators. There were so many covering the case on TikTok at the start of the crazy keeping up with everyone and wading through the information. I was shocked sometimes what I saw on posts making fun of Jay. That's got to stop. The way the chats are being dominated at the moment, especially in the lives, shows how we were not the ones to blame. Very well put, Huzu. It was an absolute joke. Some of the abuse that a lot of us were actually getting, and we weren't doing the abusing. Ishi says, thank you, Marvin. You're right, Marvin. Thank you. You're right, Marvin. I always think the amount of pushback or noise that AG make a good gauge of how true or relevant something is. Yeah, totally. I totally agree. Like I said, sometimes you've got to sit back and listen to what people's got to say. I don't care what anyone says. I think Mia definitely did work out in Tenerife from what she said. And I understand why she couldn't tell us everything, because it would have put maybe a life in danger or for threats of violence or trolls. Who knows at the end of the day? But I think she observed a few things that hit home to me that are possibly true. LTFC 77, an observation I made. One of the NRG DJs, it's called M, unknown. His photos from the NRG show him wearing a rare green Hulk Rolex, coincidence maybe. That's interesting. The owner of the NRG rave are a group of lads from Glasgow, including Jez, Jod, and Michael Doherty. These are names that surfaced a while ago, and there was a link to A.A. Rocky picking DJs up from the airport. Could it all be linked? Could M, unknown, or Michael Doherty be M? Who knows? Who knows? But like I said, LTFC 77, there is a lot of people speculating on this, and we're going to go on to the private messages. Duncan, how you doing? There is no responsible police officer on this planet that would have let Ayub and Rocky just fly out of the country without long and detailed interrogation first. It's just unbelievable mistake or horrendous corruption. Take your pick. I agree, Duncan. I thought it was one of the, I've said it in my early parts of my cases, Duncan, that I believe that was a crucial part of this case in letting them go, and they should have been questioned. I think they knew the Guardians revealed that Jay had already passed and had to play it out that they didn't know and were still searching. I truly believe that. This is how big this case is, and the people who are involved in covering it up. Thank you, Duncan. Great points. Samantha says, they just can't believe everyone knows exactly what happened. Yeah, and do you know what, Samantha? I think they thought we were just stupid enough to go along with what they said because we were. Do you remember that? We weren't there and they were. Get the LiDAR, get the LiDAR maps out. Get it? LiDAR maps, yeah, right, yeah. We agree with that, the lies. Mary Annie says, hello, Mavin. I'm a born-again Christian. John 3 verses 3, Jesus says, to get to the kingdom of heaven, we must be born again. And that was accepting Jesus. It's having been forgiven Jesus, who have believed on him will have eternal life. In the rejection of the Holy Spirit, that will keep people out. I gave my life to Jesus 40 years ago and I have peace and joy. The Bible is clear and true. You must be born again. This is worshiping Jesus. Thank you very much for that, Mary Annie. I'm one of them. I'm spiritual. I've been into a lot of different churches and looked at a lot of different religions, but I do believe in God. I'm very, very spiritual, and I'm open to conversations about godly things if people want to talk about it. Some people like to just listen in to basically religions. We talked about Jehovah's Witness. Look, there's good and bad in every religion. I'm not saying it was all bad being a Jehovah's Witness. There's some good points in the way you brought up to have consideration for other people, to know how to talk and to listen. And there are massive points I actually picked up at the end of the day. And slow to anger, which I think you have to be these days to understand people because we're living in a very, very stressful world. MW2 said he would solve it in 3 days. Pauline, a brilliant one. Pauline, I think you did and got scared. I think if anyone was able to have a heart-to-heart with him, you would have said, yes, this is all based around drugs and corruption and cover-ups. I think he would honestly say that. Hi, Marv. Hi, Peeps. Happy catching up again. Hi, Annette. Hope you're well, sweetie. Thank you for catching up and supporting the channel. Appreciate you. Good point, Pauline. But like I said, I do think some of the stuff he said would have clashed with what Debbie wanted to say in a documentary. And that's why MWT, I think, wasn't part of that documentary. And you know what misinformation says? The one who reckons he went towards the Andy, that's brilliant. Yeah, brilliant. Pinky says, I think he's talking about Cornish True Crime, who is on TT. No idea what the issue was about that creator, who seemed pretty reasonable to me, TBH. I never saw them post anything outlandish. I'll tell you what, though, Pinky Pub, is that sometimes even little things, nuggets of information can hit home with these people. At the end of the day, I've done it myself. Ali's done it myself. When you Pacific Point, I noticed when I brought up Mia again at the end of the day and the stuff she said, because don't forget she called out Chris Tenerife. It's I got basically some trolls back on my channel just because of that. What? Because we might be given the confidence to come back out and talk again. Cornish True Crime, yep, that's me. CT is we'll take it as a compliment as possible. You must have been doing something right in having broken the odd reaction. Oh, Cornish True Crime, I don't know when this voice note was recorded, but what you were discussing at the time seemed to maybe have rattled him. This is my point. Little nuggets of information which they don't want us to talk about. Pinky up. Thank you very much. I think it was a female. She posted good stuff. Ah, interesting. Cornish True Crime. Clap, clap, clap. Thank you. CT Christy Koo says 007 CT gaslighter for someone who was simply such a search volunteer. He seems unduly concerned about a TT creator content. Don't hold your breath waiting for anything constructive. We never got anything constructive, Christy. Never at the end of the day. And that's why I think a live is not going to work, because we're never going to get the truth. Pour me, another drink, and I won't say what I know. Jennifer, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Some of you really put a smile on my face at the end of the day, because we all know what's going on, don't we? We all know what's going on. Do you know what I mean? We're not allowed to talk about it. Clive said something up with the audio on the broadcast. I'm giving up, sadly. Would be preferred that it was ready off the beginning with the source to text displayed. Sorry about that, Clive. I have basically gone through points in point 3 that she said, so people can actually listen in. MJFC is a grifter and not now been seen or heard of for months. He just wanted his 5 minutes of fame. I agree, Nicola. I agree with you basically that I think his podcast should have been free, talking about the Jay Slater case. But I think that he would have been originally in basically Debbie's film and documentary on Jay Slater at the end of the day. But I didn't think she wanted him anywhere near that at the end of the day. And this is why he done the podcast, because he felt the odd one out. Caroline says, hi Marvin, hi Squiggles, Madeline and fellow streamliners. Hope you're all doing well. It's really interesting about the JW religion. It seems quite dark. I'm a Christian, but I don't go to church. Like me personally, I wouldn't force my faith onto anyone. My husband really doesn't believe in God, and that's up to him. We've been together for 30 years. Thank you, Caroline, for that. Madeline Post says, hi Caroline, hope you are doing fine. Yes, it's a very interesting video about the JW. Yeah, Caroline turns around and says, speaking to Madeline Post. Yeah, things are fine here. Trying to shut down the kitchen in my house, clean up and go to bed. Trying to listen to what ongoing, but sometimes I fall asleep. Much love. Oh, that's lovely. Thank you, ladies. Craig says, where have Duncan videos gone? Does anybody know? As haven't seen him for a while, and the older ones can't seem to find. I hope he is okay. The reply, he's got a new channel. So sad. So sad. Too familiar, says Lisa. Right, peeps, catching up. What was Duncan's channel again? Let me Duncan 2. Let me have another look, Craig. Oh, yeah. Just bear with me, people. Duncan. I think I was listening to him only this morning. Yeah, Duncan 2 Smith. So Duncan Smith 2. Duncan Smith 2, you'll find him there if you just put that in, Craig. Thank you. Yeah, that's all the streamline messages. Let's move on to the final messages. Oh, Anthony Carr says, who effing cares? Got what he deserved. Oh, that's not nice. That's not nice at all. I don't think he deserved to die. No one deserves to die in any situation, especially over a debt. Thank you, people, for all your support. Pinky Pup, British Patriot, who's a great message. Indina, thank you. Samantha, Huzu, Bulldog Dunks, thank you very much. Like your name. Dazzle Boy, great to see you back. This, thank you. Izzy, brilliant. Anthony Carr, good to hear from you. Lee, Tinkerbella, Janet, Hippie Hop, oh my bad. Roy, British Patriot, Katrina, Lap UG, Annette, PJM, Lisa, Pinky Angel, Craig, Caroline, Madeline Post, Clive, thank you very much. Nicola Brewer, thank you. Joe Jones, be with me a while now. Jennifer, good to hear from you. Cornish True Crime, Pinky Pup, brilliant messages and input as usual. Muscle Joe, Andy Nutch, Annette, Pauline Smith, Marianne, Samantha, Bulldog Dunks, LTFs, LTFC 77, thank you very much. Ishi, thank you. Huzu, Annette, Madeline Post, great input as usual. And Ian, really appreciate you all. Thank you very much. And we move on to the private messages about M. First of the private messages says, I've checked this and I think this is correct. The lady, Jay Slater case people, whose elderly mother who saw two men with hammers near her property, it later caught fire, if you remember. I didn't actually realize that was the same house. I sent you that vid. It is a practice NHS manager, Lock View Medical Centre. I better say that's all. Janice, basically, I haven't spoken to her, but obtained this through the links in Scotland. Wow. Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. So number 2, I think we'll see whether we can actually follow this up to see whether some of this whether this Janice can actually confirm this information. Number 2, M, that is the mystery man Wax was on about, is Mark, who was with Lucy in the Airbnb and had also left feedback to Roman and Elvira. He is also a director of the NRG group. His surname also ends in M, which is either Mazur or Mozon. I haven't done any more on that. His girlfriend is Lucy, and she stayed in Masca with him twice. I believe he lives in the UK, but cannot confirm this. After a lot of following the money, I now can clarify that the company Mark and the NRG are attached to is Kurat ITL Limited, also linked to Reboot and Black Traffic, Scotland and Ireland respectively. There is also a link to a Tony Mullins of Doncaster and El Sectel. It was part of the Mexican-Morocco Spanish cartel, the Sinaloa cartel, NW Mexico and PP. Also, other cartels vying for business, poaching runners from competing others cartels that operate all over Spain. Canaries, Morocco, Venezuela, Panama, Ireland, Mexico, plus other European countries. Are Catalonia cartel, Morocco mafia with brother Wang arrested, a laterally Karim B, 46 known as the taxi link to J, laundering 10 million euros through 172 properties, Jesus, and construction companies in Spain and Tenerife. The 200 ships per week bringing 200 tons into the UK of cocaine is only a tip of the iceberg, and it is Ireland who only has one EU interceptor capable of intercepting these huge cargoes, therefore fighting a losing battle. Yeah, definitely. With stopping these trafficking criminals that ruin people's lives. Ireland is still under EU law and UK cannot help. That is just absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. So obviously this M, this person believes that obviously this Mark had been seeing Lucy at the time and used the Airbnb regular, and he could have been the one leaving feedback to Roman and Elvira. He's also director of the NRG group. Interesting stuff, and that was brought up before, but like I said, I'd forgotten all about it. So it is brilliant that person had reminded us who this M could be, and certainly does the homework. Let's move on. Welcome back to part 3. This is very, very interesting, people. So this private messenger says, hi Marvin, I was looking at the skull fracture shown by Dr. Shepherd on the Jay Slater documentary. And is this an actual MRI scan of Jay's cranium, question mark? If so, I notice a clean blade cut on the left of the larger hole, approx dorsal directions, while the long and large hole is a blade shape, lateral direction, base completely level. Please the attachment, and this is the attachment, people, which you can see in the picture, making off these descriptions. IMO, these marks indicate a blade blow and cut. They look too clean for jagged rocks. Further, to my great surprise, a commenter on one of Wax's latest videos on here, now they knew Jay Slater was already dead. Name something, wrote to Wax, part of which is a quote, fitted up by your new best mate, the snake bee. The other bee cut you with the machete. The coroner's photo of your skull tells the tale. You stood no chance. That machete cut instantly ended your life. Oh my God. That is really frightening. Very, very frightening as well. Very frightening. And this was one of the reasons. Was there one of the reasons why there could have been a lot of blood on the beach and a massive cover-up? Because this is really, really bizarre. Really, really horrible and bizarre. Let me know your thoughts, people, because that was deep stuff. Don't forget to subscribe to Streamline Entertainment and Investigations. Thank you very much. Let me know your thoughts, people.